ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Check this out, we got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studio, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with good friend and colleague, Mr. Matthew George. Go follow him on X at MG28 Sports, and of course on the Sports Grid Tuesday and Wednesday night in-game live with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan. I was on there last night from 9 to 9:15. Gave out 2 winners in the WNBA. Outright dogs winning outright. Coach Young, look out. There's a new sheriff in town, LOL. So anyways, shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. While you're there on Facebook, come on back to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. The best in the business. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wines. He takes good care of you. Just set it and forget it with 4 subscription plans. Do what I do every 30 days. I get this amazing box of protein delivered to me. The only thing that I need is a spare propane tank. And if you go over there now, and use the promo code DAD. Any order over $199, you either take your choice of 2 New York strips or 6 Wagyu burgers. Thanks to Terry again, promo code DAD. So tell him JD from ECSI sent you. We love our Terry Smith. He'll be on early next week talking Atlanta sports. But for now, let's go live from New York. Mr. Matthew George. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing?
We're doing great. How about this? We're doing better than the OKC Thunder. If you replay the tapes last week and even 10 days ago, I clearly stated that for a live barking dog, your best chance to steal a game on the road is game 1. And they did. And I also made it clear that don't be shocked that if they steal game 1, and they did, they find a way to steal game 3, and after 3 games, they'd be up 2-1. OKC still minus 250, 280, depends on where you shop it, to win the series. But the fear of God now has set in OKC down 2-1. But the real shocker to me was, 32-18. In the fourth quarter, the Pacers showed their will, and we know they can shoot, but it was their defense that stepped it up. Thoughts on game 3, Matthew?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Jeff, defense was the biggest reason why the the Pacers won last night. As you mentioned, that third quarter was the biggest reason that they went on a run and played great defense, and that's how they were able to win Game 3. And not to mention that your best scorer on the team was Benedict Mathurin, scoring 27 points. So, I mean, this guy was absolutely electric. A guy shot 9 to 12 from the field, and was so efficient from the floor. And you got a double double from Tyrese Halliburton with 22 and 11. So, all the scoring and all the distribution on the team was very, very as they have been doing throughout the playoffs. High paced offense, going throughout the fast breaks, scoring in transition, and then playing good defense as well. It didn't look good at the start of the first quarter. They were down by at least by 8 when we were outscored 32-24. But then a 40-28. I think this is the biggest turnaround. A 40-28 second quarter scoring output by the Indiana Pacers, scoring 40 points. So this is very interesting in how the Pacers have been able to keep up with the pace of the OKC Thunder, living with their home crowd, and now they're 2-1 in the series, which, I mean, both surprises me, but it also doesn't surprise me because of how they were able to not only, obviously, as I mentioned, defend home court, but also compete with this young team that can run the waters like crazy. So, if you're holding like these guys under 30 points, especially you kept Shea Gilgeous-Alexander under 30 points. He only got 24. That says something, especially since he was MVP this season.
We in a title fight, in any sporting event, when you're such a massive dog, the longer you allow these teams, or in a boxing match, for instance, the longer you allow someone to hang around, something, what is happening right now, can happen. I bring up, if Indiana, who was, let me see, at one point OKC was -8, 900 to win this series. I think it closed around -700 in this 7-game series. Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, and I remember Tyson went off at 50-1 and shocked the world there. Buster Douglas did, of course. But my point here is, you're giving hope. You're giving a team that has 2 more home games here, and the Pacers are guaranteed to make it back to Indiana for Game 6 if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, an offensive team like the Pacers that get on these runs, and now the defense is stepping up. The OKC can start to feel this pressure here, and they're a young team. There's no seasoned veterans that can grab the team in a huddle and say, "All right, guys, enough's enough here. Let's wake up and play some ball here." So the point of the matter here is, this next game is critical, especially the first and second quarter for the OKC Thunder.
You have to seal game 4 if you're OKC. You have to, because if you're down 3-1, that is the ultimate, screwing the head of just like, okay, we're down 3-1, and now we really got to desperately win 4 straight games. That's a basically disaster for OKC. So you have to win game 4. Obviously, we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but I think that OKC winning, that Indiana winning last night was crucial for them to be up in the series. Now that OKC now just have basically a scramble to win Game 4, and now that the series is now up 2-1, they got to win. They got to win no matter what. They got to win on the road and then go back home to OKC, steal that game there, be up 3-2, and then have a comfortable, lead into the promised land. So, other than that, it's going to be Indiana, and it's very surprising to say that Indiana's been on such a roll. But again, as we mentioned before, these two teams have not won a championship in such a long time, or been in the finals in this position for such a long time as well, multiple decades. For the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder has been for almost a decade and 2 years. So it's very interesting to see how these two teams are being transpired, but it's great to see.
Day baseball today, some night games. Looking here, no NBA, no WNBA, so we're gonna dip our toes into some baseball games. 6:35. I call him Mr. Cy Skubal, last year's American League Cy Young winner. This year coming out again, pitching amazing as he is. They travel to Baltimore, and Atkin has now been listed as a starter versus Cy Skubal. Overnight number Detroit minus 180, now at 190 at the Circa. Good morning, Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens. You can grab the Orioles at plus 170 and 8 over minus 15 cents. What do your eyes see there?
Yeah, since I mean the Orioles are just such a mess. I don't know what's been going on. Apparently, Gunnar Henderson and the entire basically offense of the Orioles have just been stagnant and just not been able to make that next step. Yeah, obviously last year they were such a good team, and now they're completely flopped. So the Tigers have been also a one of the best teams in the American League, very surprisingly, especially with the big torch of Javier Baez. But we're going tonight with Tarko Skubal, as Jeff mentioned, and Kleber Torres in terms of the prop markets. So first off, we're gonna go with Tarko Skubal of 8+ alt strikeouts. He's recorded eight plus strikeouts in 6 out of his last 8 games. Not to mention he's gotten 4+ double-digit strikeout games, including 12, 13, and 12. I mean, this guy has been absolutely stellar so far, pitching for the Dodgers. So I wouldn't see why he wouldn't do this again tonight. And then Kleber Torres with 2+ hits at plus 185. You're gonna get a little juice with this because he's only hit that number 2 out of his last 4 games. However, he's been on a streak lately because he's on a 6 game hitting streak so far. So obviously he's gonna be in that mix in terms of the hitting markets because he's a former Yankee. And not to mention, he's a very good hitter when he's good at certain points throughout the season. So, not surprising that the Tigers have been offensively, and their pitching and rotation has been very good so far throughout the season.
Well, and there was again. I have Cy Skubal on the one fantasy baseball team with good friend Mr. Rick Thomas in Montana. Hopefully, you're awake and watching, Mr. Thomas. It's only 9:22 there, so enjoy your first or second cup of coffee there. Uh, Second game, 7:40 first pitch. The Yankees just on a roll right now. Still in Kansas City. Warren versus Lugo. Overnight, Yankees minus 135. Kansas City plus 115 with a 9 over. Currently at the Circa. Some money has come in on the Yankees, of course. Yankees now minus 148. The Royals you can get right now at plus 133 with a 9 over, juice minus 15 cents. What do your eyes see there?
Yeah, Seth Lugo generally is a great pitcher for the Royals. It's just a matter of that he doesn't get a lot of run support. So I think that in this kind of situation, you would definitely take. I mean, I don't know why when Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharon and I did did the show last night, it just doesn't seem the fact of like the Yankees always win against the Royals. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just they find a way to swing away, hit home runs, and just be able to just blow through the doors against the Royals. So we're going with that tonight. We're going with Aaron Judge and DJ LeMahieu. With 2+ hits for Aaron Judge at plus 140. We're going to parlay that with DJ LeMahieu to score a run at plus 135. For Aaron Judge, he's hit 2+ hits at 4 out of his last 7 games. Not to mention, he's hit a home run in 3 out of his last 3 games, and especially 2 against the Royals. He's been on a tear, as we know. I mean, he's batting 394 for a dang reason. And then DJ LeMahieu to record a run at plus 135. He's recorded a run in 4 straight games. And not to mention, he's also walked to 4 out of his last 5 games. So he's been able to get those kind of scoring opportunities, get on base, and just being able to do what he does. Obviously, he's been struggling. He was struggling last year, found a way in AAA to get him back himself back into the starting rotation, and has been stellar so far for the New York Yankees. So, I mean, as much as my fandom, I mean, I'm a New York Yankees fan throughout my life, but this is they've just been on a roll so far in this American League East, and they got to continue to do this if they want to continue themselves to make that World Series run that they made last year. So we're gonna parlay this at a plus 390, and good luck with that for sure. Baseball docket's gonna be continuing throughout the summer.
Well, I still think you're on the front page of the or and the back page of the post. You know, you don't make drastic decisions unless you got something in your back pocket. And we talked
Mhm.
last week, of course, Mr. Thibodeau getting fired. And oh, by the way, the Knicks still owe him $30 million with the extension. Great job
They
in
still haven't
Florida.
found one yet. They still haven't found a head coach yet. And we'll talk about that in a second here. But like, where are we going? Where are we going, New York? Time is ticking.
Yeah, and four. Rockets, Mavs, T Wolves, Hawks have all denied interviews. So I don't know where they were thinking they were going, but give us the buzz in NYC on the search for a head coach for your New York Knicks.
Oh boy, it's amazing to me that you can't seem to find any candidates for one of the biggest market teams in the NBA. Finch, Ime Adoka, and Quinn Schneider and Jason Kidd all denied by the respective organizations of to be interviewed by the New York Knicks. It's very interesting to see that that they were trying to reach out to these kinds of head coaches, even though most, if not all of them, have been very successful throughout the season last year. So I mean, I don't get why they went to Imi Adoka. I don't know why they went to Chris Finch. The Atlanta Hawks makes me is interesting because Quinn Snyder is always a good head coach throughout his career. It doesn't surprise me about that, but why not interview Mike Malone? I've been saying this. I've been saying this since Tibbs got fired. Interview Mike Malone. I think he's a very good piece for this team to head coach for the New York Knicks. He's worked with a big man in Nikola Jokic, who has been a good three point shooting big man, and he also could learn from Mike Malone in terms of on the defensive end. So I don't know why they wouldn't interview Mike Malone. Obviously, we know that G Wright has not is expressed no interest in doing that. Rick Pitino as well doesn't seem interested in that as well. He wants to stay with the Johnnies. So as I mentioned again and again, keep going with these experienced head coaches like Mike Malone to lead this team to go to the promised land. He's got that championship pedigree. He has got that championship under his belt. Why not bring him on?
Well, I'm going to add one more. Jay Wright has already said no. Bettino has said no. Dan Hurley from UConn used the Lakers as a way to get his extension. There'll be a top five, top eight preseason team going into next year. He's right next door. Has there been any words at all saying, "Hey, Dan, do you want to come over for an interview?"
I don't think so because I think that's the same situation like you said with the Lakers. He's been in such a good of a run with UConn. I mean, obviously they didn't do as well as they did the previous couple of years with winning those championships, but that's why he was first of all got extended by UConn, and he's been having such a good feel for how, not to mention the NIL has been working, how the NCAA is transitioning in terms of how players are getting paid, how players are getting situated. It's very interesting on how he'll be able to transition in terms of how the NIL will be working, but I think he's handling it well. He still runs one of the best programs in the nation in UConn, as we mentioned, for both men's and women's, just in generally. So I don't see why he wouldn't leave the program that he's been working on for the past few years, and obviously, as we mentioned, winning NCAA championships. So I don't think Dan Hurley would leave UConn for that kind of reason.
WNBA Paige Beckers records her first 30-plus game versus Phoenix despite losing career high 35 points, 5 for 7 from three-pointers. Talk about Dallas and the worst record in the league at 1-10. It's nice to have Paige back, of course. Paige, excuse me. Have Paige back. Caitlin Clark has now missed 5 games. But she's enjoying going to the Pacers game where they're undefeated there as well. Thoughts on Paige return? I mean, is Dallas this bad? I mean, hey, you got to start with Paige. It's going to take some growing pains, but were we expecting this kind of growing pains?
I don't know, Jeff, because I think the funny thing about Dallas is that you have a decent team. It's just that I don't know why they can't seem to find a way to mesh together and get some wins. I mean, I guess because you're heavily relying on the one-two punch of a weekend Wunawale and Paige Beckers that it doesn't seem to be transitioning to wins. So it's going to be a very interesting way of how they can develop from here. They'll go to they're seeming like it's going to be them, the Dallas Wings, having the number one pick in the draft for 2026. So I mean, as you mentioned, Paige Beckers is now joins Caitlin Clark in achieving only 35 plus points, 5 plus made threes in their rookie year. So it's you have that development piece for Paige Beckers to just go throughout the rest of the season and just completely ball out. I obviously she's going to win Rookie of the Year no matter what, so that market is going to be way gone by even at the start of the season. She was already at minus money already anyway in that Rookie of the Year market, so there's no way of taking her at this point. But I mean, I said that the Chicago Sky was the worst team in the league, but they're 2-7, so I can't really give them too much. They're 2-6, so this really sucks to see that how Dallas is really transitioning. But I think that this is just basically just a development season for all the young players, and then have the veteran presence of the Rico Wunawale to help these players and lead to some wins. Right now, that doesn't seem to be the case, though.
Minnesota Lynx suffered their first loss last night, like I said, and I sent you via text. I told Dave and Scott I left that one on the decks, and Scott actually called me out on it. He goes, Jeff, I'm surprised you're not on Seattle, and I said, I don't want to do this to Coach Young, but it was a perfect spot for Seattle +4, plus 160 on the money line as they give Minnesota their first loss there. Thoughts on that game? We know Minnesota's going to rebound. A lot of people think they're the best team in the league right now. I think New York will have something to say about that. But thoughts about their first loss?
Yeah, and even Coach Young and I did that when Coach did the podcast. Like he even took that, and he even took the Seattle as well to get their win as well because you know the way Seattle has been playing so far this season has been very, very scrappy, but they able to secure some wins because of that. So, uh, the Seattle Storm, I mean, all five of their players scored 13, 12 plus points throughout their entire starting lineup. Not to mention Erica Wheeler getting 20 points and Nikita Wunike getting 21 points. So they combined for a good amount of scoring opportunities throughout the entire game. Not to mention they went on that 32-27 start in the first quarter and never looked back. I mean, that's how you start a game from start to finish. You take the lead in the first quarter against Minnesota because if you can win at least 2 out of the 4 quarters against Minnesota, they'll blow away. And then next thing you know, Nafisha Collier is dominating the inside interior on in the paint, but you held her for 9 of 23 from the floor with 25 points. I mean, that's great if you're Seattle. You're keeping her from shooting the ball, from being able to score at will inside the paint, and that's how they led to the win. So it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that Seattle came away with the win, but it also shows on how desperate and how in much of depth that their lineup can be in terms of Seattle. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do the rest of the season.
Last on the WNBA, the W as we like to say here. Again, 5 games in a row. Caitlin Clark is missed. Will she be back this weekend?
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting on how she develops. I think they're gonna keep her away just on one more game, obviously, because I think that the Fever, I don't think are in a rush to get her back. Not to mention they've won a couple of games without her as well. So I know they lost their last game, but they're 4-5. They're not in a bad situation right now. Obviously, they just need to pass the Vegas Aces in terms of the conference records. But I think the way that the Fever have been that they're in right now, I think they're in a decent spot. With the way that they are right now in terms of the Eastern Conference, they are 4-5, so they're just right behind the Atlanta Dream. They're 2 games behind. But the rest of the season, I think once Caitlin Clark comes back, I think they're just gonna completely blow the water throughout the rest of the season.
If you haven't already, buy some stock on Indiana right now. While Caitlin's out there 4-5, I agree. I talked to you backstage about it. Liberty, Minnesota, and then Indiana. I think those are your big three. I could, see Caitlin Clark and company getting at least to the semis this year. I don't know if they'll get to the championship, but we'll see there. Tomorrow, you're the headliner again. Currently, as we speak, you'll be back at 11 a.m. To talk Game 4 NBA, to talk WNBA, of course. Scroll has been going the whole time. They can catch you on X at MG28 Sports, and of course on the Sports Grid Tuesday and Wednesday night, in-game live 8 to 10. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. But I always wrap this up by allowing you to also talk about your podcast with Coach James Young.
Yep, absolutely. As Jeff mentioned, Coach James Young and I do a podcast every Tuesday and Thursday that gets released as we record Monday and Wednesday throughout the week. And if you want to check those out, make sure to check it out on Sports Grid every Tuesday and Thursday that gets aired as well throughout the afternoon. As you mentioned, as Jeff mentioned, he was on last night on In Game Live Game Day with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan every Tuesday and Wednesday that I produce it. The show goes throughout the week, every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting to see at how Indiana really shows themselves out throughout the rest of this series, or will OKC find a way to even the series out and take in? And this, I mean, again, this series has been so entertaining, and that's what the league wants. So we'll see how the rest of the series goes in the NBA Finals.
U.S. Open live update. J.J. Spawn, -4, the leader. Gary Woodland, I know everyone had him on their bingo card at -3. Ludwig Oberg, -2. Siwoo Kim, Mr. Dietrich, -2 with T. Lawrence. Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy, and Jay Koiven at -1. The big boys haven't teed off yet. 4 o'clock live from Omaha. The NCAA insiders have landed. At least I think Matt has. The other two will be landing. We're going to talk Omaha, the final 8. Big start tomorrow. LSU, Arkansas. I think the winner of that game will get through the winner's bracket side on the right side. On the left side, I think it's between Oregon State and Coastal Carolina, but we'll talk to them about that. So 4 o'clock, set your dials there. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matthew George at MG28 Sports, and of course on the Sports Grid. Wish everyone a blessed morning and afternoon. We'll be back at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. See you soon.